back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today we're going to be digging into a less well-known and less well-rounded out tribe, Tieflings, or Tieflings, however you want to call them. So far they span about, I think if it's correct, about 3 different sets and a commander deck. So this should be interesting because they're kind of everywhere, but at the same time not really. Another one I'm looking into doing is probably the Azra. Those are not as well known. But let's go on ahead and get into it, starting out with Icewind Stalwart for 3 and a white. It's a 3/3 warrior, Tiefling warrior, with the ability Protection Fighting Style. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile up to one target non-warrior creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. This would be better if it had flash, in my opinion. It's still good, but it'd be better if it had flash. Scion of Stygia for 2 and a blue. It's a 2/1 Tiefling Shaman. This does have flash. It has the ability Cone of Cold. Whenever it enters the battlefield, choose a target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. 1 through 9 gets you tap that creature. 10 through 20 is tap that creature, doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. This would be one of those you would want to flash in, where you can constantly roll dice. Eccentric Apprentice, as you can see in the background, that's the art I chose for the video. For 2 and a blue, it's a 2/2 Tiefling Wizard. It has flying, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you venture into the dungeon. And it also has another ability at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you've completed a dungeon, up to one target creature becomes a bird with base power and toughness 1/1 and flying until end of turn. So this could be kind of a combat trick to make sure that your creatures can get through, or at least so this one can get through without being blocked. Guildsworn Prowler for 1 and a black. It is a 2/1 Tiefling Rogue Assassin. It has Death Touch, and whenever it dies, if it wasn't blocking, draw a card. So that's actually a pretty good one for a death deck. Horde Robber for 1 and a black. It's a 1/3 Tiefling Rogue. When it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure. Here's one of my more favorite of these. Death Priest of Merkel. For 2 and 2 black, it's a 2/2 Tiefling Cleric. Skeletons, vampires, and zombies get +1/+1. So it's a lord. And it has another ability at the beginning of your end step. If a creature died this turn, you may pay 1. And if you do, you create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. Ooh, and I love the flavor text on this one. The Reaper bids you rise. That's actually pretty cool. Passageway Seer for 3 and a black. It's a 2/2 Tiefling Warlock with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, take the initiative. At the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, put a counter on it. Grim Hireling for 3 and a red. It's a 3/2 Tiefling Rogue. Whenever one or more creatures you control do combat damage to a player, create 2 treasure tokens. That one's not that bad. And it also has the ability to tap for a black, sacrifice X treasures. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. This would be good in a artifact treasure making deck, but you can only do that at its sorcery speed. Solemn Doom God. Now we see in like these right here, their horns are really close to the head, and you can see in the background their horns are really close to their head. But this boy, he is out there. He is just way above all the rest of them. The name of the card is Solemn Doom God for 3 and 2 black. It's a 4/5 Tiefling Cleric with flying. Each creature card in your graveyard that's a cleric, rogue, warrior, and or wizard has unearthed. Ooh, I've never seen this one, and this one is actually really good in my opinion, especially if you're playing any of these creature types. I've been thinking about building up a cleric tribal deck. I haven't really had the chance to, but I'm heavily considering this card. Valor Singer for 2 and a red. It's a 2/3 Tiefling Bard with combat inspiration. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until a turn. Warehouse Thief for 3 and a red. It's a 4/2 Tiefling Rogue, and it has the ability for 2 generic. You can tap it, sacrifice an artifact or a creature, exile a top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. And here we start getting into the rares. Elturel Survivors, I think that's how it's said. For 3 and a red, it's a 0/4 Tiefling Peasant, but it has Trample and Myriad. And if you don't know, Myriad allows you to, when this creature attacks, you can make a copy of this creature for every opponent, and those copies are attacking each opponent. But as long as it is attacking, it gets +X/+0, where X is the number of lands defending player controls. So this could actually be really good, because if you're playing in, especially like for me, if I was to build a deck that included this, it would be very good, because I play in 8-player pods. It gets pretty rough, and if this comes down later, this could just be a haymaker. Karlach, Fury of Avernus for 4 and a red. It's a 5/4 Tiefling Barbarian. It's a legendary creature, so this could be a commander for this deck, but I wouldn't put this as a commander. Whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike until end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So this creature right here would be great for a Helm of the Host. She would fit perfectly into a Helm of the Host. And then we get into the Secret Lair. This would be one of the last cards we look at, besides another, what are they called? Tiefling associated cards. It is Dork Nature's Warden for 3 and a green. It's a 3/3 Tiefling Druid. It has Vigilance, and when Dork Nature's Warden enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card and put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. So this could get any forest. This could get any of the triomes with forest in their type. It could get shocks. It could get, anything that's got the forest. It could get the snow forests, the ones with the duels, the tap duels. But whenever it attacks, you may pay 1 and a green. If you do, transform her. And what does she transform into? Dork Owlbear Avenger. That's actually pretty cool. It is a 6/6 bird bear with vigilance and trample. And when this creature transforms into Dork Owlbear Avenger, other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you transform her back. Faraday, Devil's Chosen for 2, a blue and a red. It's a 3/3, and it is a Tiefling Warlock. It has the ability Dark One's Own Luck. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Faraday gains flying and menace until end of turn. If any of those results are 10 or higher, draw a card. It's pretty cool. Zevlor, yeah, Etorial Exile. I actually like the art on this one. This one's actually pretty cool. For 1, a blue, a black, and a red is a Tiefling Warrior 4/2 with haste. And for 2 generic, you can tap it, and when you cast the next instant or sorcery spell that targets a single opponent or a single permanent an opponent controls this turn, for each other opponent, choose that player or a permanent they control, copy that spell, and the copy targets the chosen player or permanent. It's actually pretty cool. It is a very good thing that they did not make this enchantments also, because if they would have put enchantments on here, this would have been the best one, the only curse commanders we would ever see. this would be the best one because you would have a copy for every opponent. This would just be broken and too good, in my opinion. And then we get into our last one with the one that actually started me on this one with Prosper Tomebound. I was scaling the EDH Rec website looking for my next big hit, and this was him. I was like, I wonder how many Tieflings we have, and turns out we don't actually have that many. So Prosper Tomebound, I'm sure you all know what he does by now. He's a 4 mana, 2 generic, a black and a red, 1/4 with Death Touch with the 2 abilities Mystic Arcanum. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. And Pact Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. But we also have a one that notices Tieflings. Raphael, Fiendish Savior. You will see him later on, not too long from now, because he comes up later. Fiendish Savior for 3, a black and a red. It is a 4/4 legendary creature, Devil Noble. Flying other demons, imps, devils, and Tieflings you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. So this is actually pretty cool. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, like mill or anything, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So, let's see if I do this right. And okay, so personal opinions on Tieflings. If I were to build a Tiefling deck, I would probably, because we do have blue, I wouldn't consider the green, the one green one we have. I would probably end up going with a Grixis commander like Zelvor and throw what good ones we had in, and probably make it probably not a Spellslinger, but probably a good battle, like a battle cruiser style, where you could just start swinging chonkers. Maybe even an equipment heavy deck if you really liked some of the effects on some of these, especially that one where you could just maul somebody over with the myriad ability. That actually seems really dope. But that will be it for today, guys. I really appreciate everybody, just the subscribers, everybody that likes the videos, comments, shares, all of my subscribers. I really appreciate it. I can't say it enough. But that is going to be it for today, guys, and I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.